To try to stop the desert from encroaching further south into the Sahel. The idea to create a huge strip of vegetation crossing the entire African continent, that even some of the land, the rocks, the mountain, the hills, and so on, it cannot be a linear process. The second big challenge that make it not technically sound for Burkina Faso is rising, and it's not with oil rigs or skyscrapers, but trees. President Ibrahim Traoré has just announced a historic 20 million tree campaign. But this isn't just about reforestation. These are medicinal trees, part of a bold vision to heal both the land and the people. For a country long exploited for its gold and left barren by decades of foreign neglect. This is a grassroots revolution, literally from the Sahel to the savannah. New forest will grow rich with native herbs, remedies, and jobs. This is Traore reclaiming Burkina's roots, culturally, economically, ecologically. Stay with us because what's happening in West Africa could become a model for the world, and it all starts with one seed. The 20 million tree pledge, not just a number but a legacy. When President Ibrahim Traoré stepped forward and announced a plan to plant 20 million trees across Burkina Faso, it wasn't just a bold environmental gesture, it was a declaration of generational intent. This isn't about optics or PR. This is about roots, both literally and metaphorically. Traoré isn't waiting for the West to solve climate change. He's showing Africa doesn't need a handout to lead. The 20 million tree initiative is aimed at reclaiming degraded lands, reviving biodiversity, and yes, healing centuries of exploitation. It's a move rooted in sovereignty and science. Every tree is a statement. We're building a future here. And these aren't just any trees. We're talking baobabs, moringas, and neri trees. Deeply woven into local culture, rich in nutrients, and bursting with medicinal value. The campaign has already mobilized students, farmers, elders, and even soldiers. It's not politics, it's a people's movement. In a world where governments sit on climate reports and do nothing, Traoré is digging holes in the earth and planting power. Burkina Faso, once defined by drought and deforestation, is flipping the tables. What was once barren land is becoming a living pharmacy, and in a region riddled with instability, Traoré isn't just planting trees, he's planting resilience. The West can keep its carbon credits. Africa's response is more profound. A green revolution with its own heartbeat, its own rhythm, and its own roots. This is leadership, and the world better pay attention. Medicinal forests. Africa's ancient healing reawakened. Forget big pharma. The real medicine is growing right from Burkina Faso's soil. Traoré's campaign isn't just about greening the landscape. It's about reviving an ancient, almost forgotten pharmacy that modern science is only now beginning to respect. Indigenous trees like the shea moringa and neem aren't just environmental assets, they're lifelines. Their roots, bark, leaves, and fruit have treated malaria, boosted immunity, cured infections, and nourished generations long before synthetic drugs came into play. And now, under Traoré's leadership, these botanical treasures are getting the respect and the investment they deserve. This is more than environmental policy. It's a health initiative. Imagine forests that double as pharmacies, where families can source natural antibiotics, antiseptics, and vitamins without ever stepping foot in a clinic. That's the vision Traoré is nurturing. And here's the kicker. Burkina's universities and herbal medicine experts are now collaborating on documenting, preserving, and scaling these remedies. Traoré is bridging ancient wisdom with modern science, empowering local healers and breaking dependence on expensive imports. In a world where rural communities often lack access to basic healthcare, Traoré is growing medicine literally, and not in labs, but in living, breathing forests. These are sacred trees, sacred because they heal bodies, sustain economies, and root people to place and purpose. Burkina Faso is not just planting trees, it's reclaiming its indigenous knowledge, restoring health sovereignty, and reminding the world that sometimes the most powerful medicine doesn't come in pills, but in leaves, barks, and blossoms, reclaiming the Sahel, turning dust into destiny. For years, the Sahel has been painted with one brush stroke, dry, dusty, and doomed. But Traoré is changing the narrative, tree by tree. The 20 million tree initiative isn't happening in fertile riverbanks. It's taking root in the hardest places, the scarred, wind-blown edges of the Sahel, where the land cries out for hope. The plan used reforestation not just to combat desertification, but to transform entire regions from environmental graveyards into green corridors of life and commerce. Agroforestry is leading the charge. Trees are being integrated with crops and livestock, creating microclimates that restore soil, health, protect harvests, and support pollinators. And the results, villages that once relied on food aid are now harvesting fruit, nuts, and herbs. Women are building co-ops around baobab powder. Youths are turning reforestation into entrepreneurship. This isn't a temporary fix, it's a tectonic shift. And while critics once claimed the Sahel was beyond repair, Traore's forestry engineers and grassroots planters are proving them wrong every single day. You see, this isn't just about planting, it's about planning. Water retention pits, seed ball techniques, and community-managed woodlots are turning theory into transformation. And the most inspiring part, it's Burkina Faso solutions for Burkina Faso challenges. No parachuting and no corporate fingerprints, just local hands, indigenous knowledge, and national pride. The Sahel isn't dying, it's rising, and Traore, he's leading one of the most ambitious land restorations Africa has ever seen. Dust into destiny. That's the new Burkina Faso blueprint. Jobs, justice, and jungle. The socio-economic windfall. Tree planting sounds peaceful, but under Traore, it's become a weapon of mass employment. The 20 million tree campaign is fueling one of the largest green job surges in Burkina Faso's history. From seed collectors to nursery workers, from soil scientists to eco-guards, thousands of jobs are being created, and not just in the cities. This is a rural revolution. Entire villages are getting contracts to plant, maintain, and monitor tree corridors. And the ripple effects, massive local artisans are crafting eco-products from forest byproducts. Women's groups are exporting shea butter and moringa oil. Youth collectives are building digital apps to track growth and carbon capture. This is Circular Economy 101, designed not in Silicon Valley, but in Ouagadougou's grassroots networks. And let's talk about justice. Under colonial and post-colonial systems, forests were often state-controlled, stripping local communities of their right to access and protect their land. Traore flipped that on its head. His campaign is rooted in land justice. Communities own the trees they plant. They decide how resources are used. That's not just equitable, it's empowering. And while some governments talk green while acting gray, Traore is putting his money and his military behind this. Security forces have been deployed not for war, but for protection, guarding saplings, preventing illegal logging, and ensuring that this green gold gets a chance to grow. In Burkina today, justice doesn't wear a robe. It holds a shovel. Traore isn't just growing trees, he's growing equity, dignity, and economic sovereignty. Is really amazing in what he's doing because he never ever stopped trying. He's like a scientist, and every year he's adding from his experience, music, the youth army, green warriors of the new Burkina. You know what's more powerful than political speeches? A generation of youth with dirt under their nails and fire in their eyes. The Traore's Tree campaign has awakened something rare and raw in Burkina's youth, a sense of purpose. Instead of fleeing to cities or risking deadly journeys abroad, thousands of young people are staying planting, building and defending their homeland. This isn't government propaganda. It's organic, electric grassroots energy. Young Burkina Faso are forming reforestation brigades, documenting progress on social media and treating this green wave like a national mission. Schools have 3 quotas. Graduates are joining agroforestry startups. The tree has become a badge of honor. And Traore, he's not just watching, he's marching with them. His administration has turned schools into eco-labs, funded rural internship programs, and launched competitions rewarding the best youth forest projects. These kids aren't waiting for climate conferences. They are the climate conference, boots on the ground, hands in the soil. Even hip-hop artists are getting in on it, dropping rhymes about biodiversity and resilience. Who would have thought trees could spark a cultural revolution? And here's the truth. No other country in the region is doing it like this. While others struggle to engage youth, Traore has ignited a movement where saving the planet and saving the nation go hand in hand. It's not just hope, it's action. And as these young leaders rise with every tree they plant, The message is clear. Burkina's future isn't being negotiated. It's being rooted one sapling at a time. Global applause, but this one's for us. The international headlines are glowing. Burkina Faso's green miracle. Traore's climate crusade. NOS's UN agencies and climate think tanks are rushing to praise the 20 million tree campaign. And sure, it's nice to be recognized. But let's be real, Traore isn't doing this for applause. He's doing this for survival, for sovereignty, for the soul of his country. This is not some externally driven, donor-approved blueprint. It's a homegrown Burkina Faso initiative that's proving Africa doesn't need the West to lead on climate. We've got our own roadmaps, our own heroes, and our own reasons. While the world argues over emissions targets, Burkina is creating carbon sinks. While others chase green profits, Traore is chasing green justice. This campaign isn't charity, it's reparative. It's about reclaiming what was stolen land, dignity and ecological agency, and yes, let the world watch and learn. Let them send drones to study regrowth, fund research labs to analyze soil quality. But know this, no matter how much praise comes from abroad, the deepest pride is rooted at home. Mothers walking their children through sapling-lined paths. Elders remembering how the land once looked. Children drawing trees in their notebooks, not tanks. That's the impact. So let the world celebrate. But this victory, it belongs to Burkina and Traore. He doesn't need validation. His roots run too deep. He's not planting for today's press. He's planting for tomorrow's peace. When you have less natural resources available for people, the limit is remaining places or spot where you have those opportunity. You know will be a concentration of people. They will move from one place to another in order to get access to those resources. Everybody fund for themselves, and in that, of course, you have some clashes, you have some problems. Music and music. Defying doomed security through sustainability. In a region plagued by instability where terrorist factions exploit poverty and climate despair. Ibrahim Traoré's tree campaign isn't just environmental, it's geopolitical. Reforestation is now a national security strategy. How? Because it targets the root causes of insurgency, land degradation, food insecurity, and youth unemployment. By restoring soil and restoring hope, Traoré is cutting off extremist recruitment at the source. When land becomes productive, families stay. When youth find purpose in planting, they don't pick up guns. When forests thrive, water returns, and where there's water, there's stability. The tree becomes a peacekeeper, and this is not some metaphorical gesture. Security forces have been redeployed to protect ecological zones. Local militias are being retrained as eco-guards. The entire military ethos is shifting from defense to regeneration, and it's working. Villages once abandoned are seeing returns. Displaced families are coming back. Agricultural yields are rising. Burkina isn't just defending itself with weapons. It's defending itself with roots, shade, and sustenance. This is strategic brilliance. While the world's powers look for peace through drones and dialogue, Traoré is showing that sometimes peace comes with a shovel, not a summit. The forests of Burkina aren't just lungs for the planet. They're barriers against chaos, and for a leader often underestimated on the global stage, Traoré is proving that resilience is grown, not gifted. The green canopy he's building, it's not just ecological, it's revolutionary. What the future holds from saplings to sovereignty, 20 million trees, is just the beginning. Traore has already hinted at Phase 2, transforming Burkina into the green lungs of West Africa. The dream to expand the campaign to 100 million trees by 2030, integrate tree-based learning into national curriculum, and build a regional eco-alliance that includes Mali, Niger, and Ghana. This isn't fantasy, it's already underway. Seed banks are being expanded. Water harvesting systems are scaling, and Burkina's forestry schools are now training the next wave of eco-diplomats. The green vision is becoming green governance. Traore isn't content with stopping desertification. He wants forests that fuel industries, feed nations, and fund futures, forests that form the basis of a new economy, one not based on extraction, but regeneration. Picture this: Burkina Faso pharmaceuticals, based on local fluorocarbon markets owned and operated by rural cooperatives. A nation once dependent on gold, turning to green as its greatest export. That's the new dream, and it's rooted in sovereignty. For too long, Africa's destiny was written in boardrooms, far from its shores. But now, under Traore's leadership, Burkina Faso is reclaiming the pen and rewriting the story. The world might see saplings. Traore sees a sovereign future, standing tall with deep roots and limitless canopy. It started with a promise: 20 million trees, but it's growing into a revolution of land of lives and of legacy. As the world chokes on pollution and policy failures, Burkina Faso is breathing life tree by tree. Ibrahim Traoré's 20 million medicinal tree campaign isn't just environmental, it's transformational. It revives ancestral knowledge, empowers rural communities, and builds a future no longer dependent on handouts or hollow promises. This isn't a reforestation project, it's a resistance, a reminder that healing can begin when people reconnect with their land. Imagine a nation once dismissed as resource poor, now exporting plant-based medicine, attracting eco-tourism, and teaching the world how to grow hope. If you believe in a green revolution rooted in justice, this is your moment to witness history. Like, share, and subscribe, because Burkina Faso is planting the future, and the world is watching.